Now, next, I have a sort of serious topic. And it's because I see so many people, messing up the facts when it comes to the presidential candidates. And your boy, this handsome guy here, is really into politics. I may not seem like it. I'm 18 years old. This is my first time voting, so I've tried to delve. Now, I'm going to tell you before, these facts came from websites. They came from the government website, .gov, whitehouse.gov, trump.gov, biden.gov. All of what you're going to hear came from the internet. This did not just come from me. I did not make any of these up out of the blue. So, if you get mad, do not get mad at this face right here. Get mad at Google and Sergey Brin and all the people who make the internet. Get mad at them. Now, I just want to simply educate some people. Personally, I'm more of a Democrat-leaning guy myself. That's just me. But if you are more Republican, I love you too, bro. Okay, I'm not gonna have beef with you because you have different political beliefs. That's inconsiderate to me. First, we're gonna start off with Joe Biden, his accomplishments, because a lot of people believe that Joe Biden has done absolutely nothing. And while it may feel that way, while I have felt that way at a lot of times, trust and believe me, it's not quite the truth. So a couple things that Joe Biden has done that are good. He's lowered the cost of families' everyday expenses. He passed the Inflation Reduction Act. More people are working right now than at any point in American history. He's created nearly 11 million jobs across the country. He's making more in America. A lot of American companies have invested up to $300 billion plus in manufacturing, which I think is really good. He has rescued the economy and changed the course of the pandemic. Mind you, he was brought into a bad situation. Really bad. It was a bad situation. And to be fair, just to tell the truth, it was an awful situation. And he's got us out of that. Joe Biden deserves credit for that, y'all. I think we can both, and we can all agree about that. He's also helped rebuild our infrastructure. He passed the bipartisan infrastructure law trying to rebuild bridges, roads, and infrastructure in the United States. And he also enforced the first meaningful gun regulation in the United States and restriction in a long time. It's been like 30 years. The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act is what it is called. You can go ahead and look it up. The law is supposed to save the lives of 18 to 21-year-olds. Mind you, I want to caution you about all this before I go on. Not everything can happen immediately. As a president, when you put something into place, you're doing it under the impression that it's going to take a couple years, right? You're doing it under the impression this is what I want the future of the country to look like. So not everything's going to be immediate. Now, some drawbacks about Mr. Biden. Number one, he's very old. The amount of times I have seen Joe Biden fall asleep or fall down or ride his bike and fail, it's rough. It's rough, right? He's an older guy. We don't know how that affects his reliability, his thinking. We don't know. But he's an older guy. Also, the whole social media and TikTok thing was controversial. Guys, as a man who makes a lot of his following and a lot of his money off of TikTok, this scared the hell out of me. I'm just going to be honest. It scared me. I was all in my emotions. You could ask my dad. I'm like, I'm not going to vote that bum back in office because he's trying to catastrophically impact my bottom line. Turns out he may not ban it. He may ban it. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that America's going to come to some deal that none of us hear about. And we're just going to log on TikTok and all be happy. But of course, that was a little controversial. He's had to make some very difficult decisions when it's come to conflicts overseas. And that has impacted his approval. Do I agree with every decision that Joe Biden has made? Absolutely not. I don't think anyone has. He's had some decisions to make. He's increased spending by a lot. He's hiking taxes for businesses, which can be rough for the United States and can also impact workers, along with United States competition in international markets. He's hiked up the taxes for these companies, and as a guy who wants to own a company, that doesn't sound too nice, and I do think companies and wealthier people should pay their fair share. Now, going down to our Republican candidate, and also a felon, whether you want to look at it that way or not, Mr. Trump. Some good things he did in his presidency. America gained 7 million new jobs, more than 3 times the government projected at that time. The middle-class family income increased by an average of $6,000, more than 5 times the gains during the entire previous administration. The unemployment rate was the lowest it was in half a century at 3.5%. He achieved 40 months in a row with more job openings and more job openings than job hirings. More Americans reported being employed than ever before. So more Americans were employed than they have ever been. Let me read that again. I'm just going to read that one more time. More Americans reported being employed than ever before. So nearly 160 million Americans were employed at that time, which is really good. Jobless claims hit a 50-year low, or nearly hit a 50-year low. Incomes rose in every single metro area in the United States. That is the first time that happened in 3 decades. Now, some drawbacks about Mr. Trump. Oh, and trust and believe me, this is one heck of a list. Because while I do find some admirable traits in the guy, he believes in himself, right? He leads, he does what he has to do. I also see some things that are quite concerning. Let's just call it out. The guy can be a bit racist sometimes. I mean, he called black protesters thugs in all caps on Twitter. And to me, that's rather insensitive. Why? Why are we're just fighting for our right, right? And it's funny because he also incited a riot on the U.S. Capitol. He told his supporters to go and stop the count, stop the vote, stop the election. And those guys weren't thugs, so why are we thugs? I just didn't get it. He's also said some harmful things about the Muslim community. And I love my Muslim community. You know, I don't claim to be a Muslim. I'm not religious at all, particularly. But I do have Islamic friends. I do have people of the Nation of Islam. And they are fantastic. They're good people. Not everybody that is part of that community is doing awful things. That's one thing we all have to realize. Just because they're part of something doesn't mean that they're participating in everything that maybe the bad part of that community or the rough part of that community is participating in. Just because I'm black doesn't mean I own a weapon. Just because I'm black doesn't mean I'm a teen father, right? Just because I'm black doesn't mean I make all the mistakes and all the awful things. It doesn't mean I'm dumb, right? And the same thing applies for anybody of any other race. He's also done and said some terrible things about the Hispanic community. I think human rights is a very important thing. And Donald Trump has not necessarily mastered that part of his diaspora. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. He's also told his supporters once again to stop the count. And it ended up being a raid on the U.S. Capitol, which made national news. And he's also hiking up tariff, which is going to make trade a little bit more difficult, along with keeping the economy strong a little bit more difficult. But that's what I have to say about those two candidates. Personally, I'm wishy-washy between the two. I'm now more on Biden's side right now. That's just me personally. Donald Trump just doesn't fit with a lot of my views. Doesn't fit with a lot of my principles. I don't like how he treats people. I don't like how he seems to have this complex that he's more important than everybody else. I just don't like that, right? I do think he has some admirable traits. I love the fact that he believes in himself. I love the devotion he can inspire in his supporters. I like that. I think that's a great power to have. But it's also coming with responsibility, and I'm not sure if he's handling that responsibility correctly or as well as he could be. That's all I'm saying about Mr. J. Trump. If you're a Trump supporter, dog, I've got no beef against you. We can shake hands, we can do business together, all of that, right? But me personally, I'm leaning towards the Democratic side. I think Joe Biden has done fairly well, especially given the fact that he was brought in a very crappy situation with the pandemic. He's tried to work his way through. He's older. Kamala Harris, I know a lot of people find her to be very controversial as well. I think she's also done fairly well. She's trying her best, right? Just like the rest of us, just like a lot of other politicians, she may have a past that is controversial, but she's trying her best. She really is, and I really appreciate the effort that has been given to this administration and by this administration, and whoever the next administration is, whether it be Trump or Biden, I would hope that they do what's best for the people and not only what's best for themselves and their own best interest. But of course, I'm going to end this video. I hope you guys had a great day. Thank you for watching. I wish you nothing but the best. Stay loved, stay blessed. I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching.